Hi there, Lawrence Allen, founder and director of Think Marketing. Thanks very much for taking the time to check out this quick video, which I've created around the concept of marketing in volatile times. We're obviously operating in a very difficult economic situation, not just in Australia, but also from a global standpoint. But how we market ourselves will have a massive impact, not only on the business that we can do during these times, but also how we'll bounce back once they recover. Marketing plays a huge role in that because it's at its core, it's obviously all based around how we engage with our customers. And customers' mindsets, their psychology, their buying behaviors, etc., are all being disrupted for a number of different reasons right now. And we have to adapt and we have to change our marketing because the needs and wants of our customers is also changing. As such, we've pulled together 10 strategies that actually work during volatile times as almost an anti-doom and gloom manual, really, on how we can navigate through these uncertain and volatile times. But also what I want to do is pick up on those companies who are doing really well and provide some examples, as we are starting to see a few rays of sunshine through all this doom and gloom right now. But this particular video, it's really focused around this anti-doom and gloom message, really, because yes, the last 12 months have actually been really difficult for a number of different reasons, and we're going through right now a medical, a financial, and a leadership crisis all in one. But we are seeing those rays of sunshine starting to appear. So we don't necessarily have to assume that the sky is falling. You know, there are, of course, some industries that are doing it a lot tougher than others. And if we look at something like the travel industry, of course, how they bounce back is going to be completely different to how cafes and restaurant businesses bounce back. But I think what we want to do here is focus on the positives and focus on those businesses that are doing really well and try and learn what we can from what they're doing and how we can adapt it in our own businesses. I think the traditional view of marketing and sales is very much, when it came to volatile periods, we had a binary view on it. Did we want to cut it? Yes, no. And I think there's some flawed thinking in that in the modern era. Marketing obviously is all based around how we engage with and how we can influence customers. And I think that during a time where our customers' needs and wants are changing, what we don't want to be doing is cutting those resources that engage with our clients the most. What we really want to be doing is changing or adapting them. I think that in a lot of examples as well, when we stop marketing, it takes a lot longer to recover and start them back up. So when we see a bounce back, those businesses who have continued a marketing presence in an industry will do better once the actual bounce back happens. So let's assume then that we agree that cutting marketing funding is not necessarily the way to go forward. So if we can agree on that, then really there are three marketing areas or options are open to us. And yes, I apologize. There is a little bit of buzzwordery going on in here. But the three areas are essentially, we can choose to hibernate our marketing, we can choose to innovate, or we can choose to stimulate. Now, from a hibernation perspective, this is where we have the opportunity to change our marketing over a longer period of time. And what we want to do is, during that period, is reduce our marketing to a minimum state so we can bring those changes in. It might be that we're waiting for the bounce back to happen, or we're looking for new ways that we can innovate or whatever. And up to that point, we want to reduce our costs. Now, it's about reducing our costs, not stopping them. And the main reason is, as I've already mentioned, that if we stop them, we're actually going to find recovery from a marketing point of view a lot more difficult. So in some instances, if we shut our marketing down, even just for a few months, it can take us anywhere from 6 to 18 months to actually recover that marketing momentum. And so we need to understand that. So of course, companies can cut their marketing, but then we need to understand that it is not a straight bounce back. It will take time to recover that marketing momentum. So we also want to consider our operations and review them and really ensure that we have the right infrastructure in place. This might mean that our personnel will change in terms of the types of resources we need in the business to execute the marketing. And it also might mean that our budgets will change as well. Some may go up, rather than go down, depending on what we actually require, but it gives us that opportunity to actually plan. It also gives us an opportunity to take a stand back and really communicate with our current clients. So rather than going out purely on a new business drive, it gives us some time that we can actually communicate with our current clients, talk to them, and that can help aid retention, and it can also help retain upselling in certain industries. For those companies looking to innovate and, to put it in another buzzwordy kind of way, pivot their business. This could include a focus on areas of the business that are working, even if it's not their core offering. They may find that a certain area is still able to be offered, even though its other areas or their core offering is being disrupted. And it's really a time then to focus on the Ps, the marketing Ps. This isn't a new concept. If you haven't heard of this before, this is one of the original marketing models, and it stands for price, product, promotion, and place. And we need to think about how we can make changes here and which changes will have the largest impact. So it could be about reducing price, or it could be about going after new markets and increasing the price even. It could be more about going online and reducing our physical environment, which we're seeing a lot from a retail perspective right now, etc. So innovation and how we choose to innovate or sell our products slightly differently can have a huge impact on our business. Now, the first two are assuming that we have undertaken or have been disrupted during a volatile time. But for some businesses, they're not actually disrupted that much. They actually receive a bit of an uplift in certain times, and the market works for them, and they're actually seriously taking off, and it's a time for them to double down. So for those businesses, they want to market themselves actually more. So yes, their clients are in a state of change or flux. So we really need to take some time to understand what those changes are and how we can continue to utilize those changes from a marketing and client engagement perspective. Because what we don't want to happen in a really volatile market is for it to change again, and suddenly we've re-geared all our marketing and it changes from underneath us, and suddenly we were being successful and now we're not. That can come into the bounce back as well a little bit. So during a volatile period, an austerity type product might be really sought after, but when we actually bounce back, then people could actually drop that. So we have to make sure that we know what clients want, and in future environment, what might happen and how we'll deal with that. So of course, a lot of businesses during these times of stimulation will be quite operational and logistically focused from their business point of view. Like, how do they actually deliver the volume? Because they may not have experienced that level of volume before. But they also need to reach, in this example, as many potential clients and as quickly as possible. And they need to capitalize on what's happening right now before there's any further changes. So it's a bit of a balancing act of really understanding what's happening and how we can continue to capitalize on that, but also then getting out there as quickly and immediately as possible. And we've seen a number of industries do that in the current difficult situations that we're dealing with. So I just wanted to provide a few examples on those specific marketing options. So if we think about hibernation, these are some quite high profile brands. And I don't mean this purely from the brand's perspective. I mean it more from an industry perspective. But certainly if we think about Qantas and we think about the airline and travel industry, huge amounts of disruption there. And they are going into a hibernation mode. They've talked about that for many weeks now. And the same is true for retail. So companies like Just Jeans and Peter Alexander, which are part of the same group, they're turning largely to online selling and are looking to close their physical stores until there's a point in time where customers can actually come back and shop, and having those physical locations open becomes a profitable way of doing business again. The same from a physical point of view is true for shops or businesses like Just Cuts. Certainly we've seen other hairdressing businesses and operations having the same issues, which is from a a distance point of view. They can't actually perform their function, so they're shutting down until people can come back into their stores. And things like the coffee club and other cafes more generally are having issues whereby their actual physical locations are now aren't going to be frequented by customers, but they are still able to operate, takeaway services, etc. So they're keeping on skeleton staff. So from that point of view, it's potentially more of a hibernation to innovation point of view, and they have to think about, well, what can they do? Yes, they need to cut spend, and they need, from a marketing point of view, you need to think about how they're marketing themselves, because people aren't going to be coming into the actual cafes anymore. However, they can come in there to get takeaways. So they might not be sitting in anymore, but they can do the takeaways. And so what are they going to offer? How do they actually, not just barely cover the service, but how do they actually improve the customer experience, etc. Other areas such as venues are obviously deeply impacted. So I've got Merivale there, so I'm not picking on them specifically. I'm just talking about more generally from a venue point of view. We're not seeing big gatherings anymore, weddings, parties, anything like that. Pubs open generally is not happening. So those businesses are having to change or having to hibernate whilst they figure out what it is they want to do going forward, or how they're going to weather the current storm. Now, whilst some companies have to go into hibernation because that's the reality of where they are right now, we are seeing some interesting innovations happening. So companies like Fitness First, for example, gyms, physical training, having to close that down has meant moving to an online platform. That's not particularly new. We've seen online training and people training from home happening for a very, very long time, but they've not necessarily been embraced by businesses like Fitness First, who offer a somewhat hybrid kind of way. So for some members, you can do some online and some physical training, and now they're going to be moving purely to online training whilst during this period where people cannot visit gyms. So quite interesting innovation from their point of view. Also, we're seeing certain manufacturing operations change their products in different ways. So Schumacher, who are a wallpaper and a fabrics business in the States, they're actually using their fabrics to create face masks. Which is a great way to keep their staff and to offer their clients something that they actually want, and to actually find new clients as well. Very trendy looking face mask, but they provide a very important function as well. So rather than go into hibernation, they would rather retain their staff and look to new markets. In the alcohol and beverage spaces, we are seeing a lot of innovation, generally speaking, quite innovative management teams there. So Batch Brewing Company, a business located in Marrickville in Sydney, they were one of the first to provide curbside pickup and home delivery. So they worked very much with a delivery partner who is winning, and delivery businesses are winning in the current environment to actually be able to provide that. And we saw a lot of smaller bars as well, able to provide things like takeaway cocktails, things like that, or moving into mocktails and providing different kind of takeaways rather than a kind of go in, have a bar experience inside the bar, but they can still go and do takeaway services. Seen some very interesting, I suppose, more premium offerings as well from that type of industry. So MJ Becker Wines, which is a small cellar door in the Hunter Valley, they've been doing online tastings where the winemakers and the owners of that business are going through doing virtual cellar tours, of course, and doing tastings and doing offers off the back of that. So they're actually able to reach a much larger audience than those who are just coming into the cellar door. And that's actually been going very, very well for them. And we're also seeing lots of examples of retooling happening. So Dyson in the UK, General Motors in America, etc., they're trying to change their operations to be able to offer medical equipment. And in Australia, we've seen a similar trend happen for Wilkinshaw Performance, where they're trying to make respirators and other medical, other really important medical equipment. Yeah, so lots of examples of companies there who are innovating in this changing environment. But also we can see, or there are examples of some companies who are actually really benefiting. They haven't really had to change their they haven't really had to change their current models. They're just doing better as a result. Uber Eats is an obvious example whereby people are trying to stay in more as directed by the government. So services like Uber Eats and other services are doing very, very well. Again, I'm not specifically picking on these brands, it's more an industry offering. Obviously, our supermarkets like Woolworths, Coles, Aldi, etc., are doing a lot of business right now, and they're really taking time to communicate with their audiences and the wider community, talking about what they're offering, new hours, etc. So this is marketing, or I should say, this is innovative marketing at its best. Just seeing the change happen almost on a daily basis. HelloFresh as well. We've seen home delivery services that I wouldn't say exactly were struggling. They were doing good business in Australia and have had a solid growth trajectory to date, but they have taken off in recent months where people haven't wanted to leave the house. We're also seeing certain areas of businesses, maybe this is more of an innovate, but like Nike and other businesses who offer either loungewear or activewear, for example, they're doing very well and able to online provide those services or those products to their customers, and they are being promoted heavily. Companies like Kelly Partners, Chartered Accountants, they are really going hard at looking at what benefits are coming from the government and communicating that out, not only to their customers, but also to their audiences as a whole. So people can get a good feel for, Kelly and Partners are looking out for them. And, when the bounce back happens, that can potentially attract more people to Kelly and Partners and even create more sales right now. Foxtel and other content providers are, obviously providing full back catalogues of content free of charge to keep people entertained whilst they're at home. This is a great example of companies that have been criticised more recently for, not necessarily being the most cost-effective content providers, but now we need them. They're actually, giving their customers, in inverted commas, a break. Sherpa, who are a logistics business. So I mentioned with the batch example that these sorts of businesses like Sherpa are able to partner with smaller businesses to actually provide delivery services. And so they've actually been able to really adapt well to the current environment and offer, well, I suppose, help those people wanting to innovate the opportunity to actually change how they provide their products and services, which also means a different way in which they can market themselves. And of course, we couldn't talk about the current situation without mentioning toilet rolls. I think we are all a lot more keenly aware of the products and the brands that are available in these markets than ever before. And whilst we might not have shortages in Australia right now, we're certainly not seeing them on the shelves of many supermarkets. And we are seeing huge amounts of messaging going out from these brands, and it's creating a huge amount of brand equity for those businesses. So again, just a few examples here of the sorts of businesses who are going into hibernation and why they're doing that. Those that are innovating, and then those who are able to stimulate their marketing right now because they're getting a lot of uptake. So as mentioned, I've got 10 strategies that we're going to be releasing over the next few weeks, doing it in bite-sized chunks, really, just to help people get an idea of what we mean by each strategy and providing examples, etc. If you want to skip all that, we do actually have it in an anti-doom and gloom marketing manual, which we've hastily pulled together. I'll pop the link in the comments so you can pick that up. But certainly, if you want all those now, have a look at them. If you just want to follow what we're doing, please just over the next few weeks and months, follow us. We're going to try and provide as much content as we can to help as many businesses as we can, and we really do sincerely mean that. We want to be helping businesses, not just our customers, but also those in the wider business community. And if you see anything that you want to ask a question on or make a comment on, please do, and we'll endeavour to get back to you as quickly as we can. And really, that's it. There's not a pitch. We're not trying to sell to anyone here. We realise that everyone is trying to change, and we just want to be there to try and help to do that. But where to now? What can you do right now based on that information that I've just provided? Well, find your best approach. Think about the strategies from a marketing perspective that will help you get through the volatile times that we're currently working in. And you have to try and base that on the data that you have. Admittedly, it's changing on a daily basis. So in certain times, you've got to just create a flexible plan and execute it. So yes, use the data, but make sure there's flexibility within the strategies that you pick and the plan that you put in place, and then execute it. But also take some time to talk to peers, talk to your people, friends, business partners, colleagues, etc. Talk to your mentors and marketers like ourselves at Think, who we're always happy to field questions from from people in the market. Is your approach right? What are your concerns? What are you going to change? Or what do you need to change in your plan, etc.? Use us as a sounding board. That's why I set up Think, to be that kind of a business that helps clients and also potential clients. And then once you know where you want to go, move quickly. The environment is so volatile, or so changeable, I should say, right now, that you need to move really quickly. And that I think we all need to have a motto, really, of imperfect action is better than delayed action right now. We can always, if we have a flexible model, change it as we go forward. But if it's changing before we're even releasing that information or releasing that model into the market, it's we're forever going to be chasing our own tails. Like I mentioned, we're here to help. Contact us if you need a sounding board, and we'll do our best to help you. If you don't want to get in contact, though, we've got lots of resources on our website, so go to think-moa.com.au, have a look at our portfolio, have a look at our resources, but also have a look at our blog. We try and produce a lot of new content on not only marketing in volatile times, but also different strategies, whether it's inbound marketing, etc. And we're acutely aware of the difficulty a lot of people are facing right now when it comes to marketing their products and services. So we will be coming up with new ways in which we can work with people. And again, I'm not going into a pitch here. I'm just highlighting that we are changing our own offering to meet the market. So please do keep checking our website, because there may be things that you find really useful. If you do want to contact us direct, you're quite welcome to come to me. Actually, that address is now wrong, because we've moved out of the work club, as we ourselves are trying to manage our own costs. But look, you can get us online. Go to the website, think-moa.com.au. You can get us on LinkedIn. My personal LinkedIn is just LinkedIn/Lawrence Allam, or on Facebook, it's Facebook/think.moa. You can obviously email me. My email's on the screen there, or you can call me. If you're outside of Australia, it's +61, and then my number is 0404 722 941. Look, I hope you found this useful. I'd love to hear back from you. Let me know how you've gone with it. Please do follow us. We are going to be producing more content, like I said, and we hope you find it useful. Thanks very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.